Today's episode of Voiced is from our /ProRevenge and is about an artist who outsmarted their aunt's exploitative business tactics, leaving her entire scam in ruins. What happens when you stand up to those who try to take advantage? Subscribe if you enjoy.
My aunt tried to use the "you don't need money, I'm giving you experience and exposure" line for some art I did for business. She got called out. Now her entire scam and life is unraveling. And while I don't like to gloat, I can't help but snicker. I originally posted my question on Reddit Relationships on Monday. Aunt J, by marriage, asked me to do several pieces of art for her real estate business. I am in school and am positive I told her that I would need to be paid. I am also positive she agreed to pay me. My major mistake was not agreeing to terms up front, but she still tried to take advantage of me. She was difficult, refused to accept drafts, then hated the finished products. I was out tons of time and money and tried to wash my hands of her. Out of the blue, she wanted me to fly out, on my own dime, to paint her office mural. I said I would have to get paid for previous work, and she exploded on me and told me that exposure from people like me is great for people like you, and I'm giving you experience. That was Monday. First thing Tuesday morning, I had a meeting with my school's licensing legal advisor, and she helped me draft a letter stating, since no legal transfer of ownership had taken place, Aunt J was to cease using any of my work immediately. We also wrote up an invoice for my time, materials, and shipping up to that point, with a very friendly 15% family discount. And that if Aunt J were to work out a payment plan, she could continue using the finished pieces. I emailed them to her. I was very sincerely trying to handle this like an adult and not involve my parents or my uncle, Dad's brother and Aunt J's husband. But maybe 1.5 hours after I pressed send on the email, my mom called me. It basically went like this: "Mom, Aunt J just called and completely chewed me out over what an ungrateful brat you are. What is going on?" I explained the situation to her and apologized because I really was trying to handle it myself. She was apoplectic mad and revealed to me that Aunt J had been pulling this kind of nonsense ever since she married my uncle. Mom really wished I would have called when this first started, and she would have advised me to avoid ever doing anything with her. I said I was sorry that I was in so deep, but I felt like I was handling it okay. My mom asked if it was okay if she got involved. I said that was okay. Aunt J got her real estate license last fall and had been telling my uncle that she was a lock to be a franchisee for a nationwide real estate company. I'll just say ProMax. My mom called a local ProMax office and asked who she should talk to because one of their agents had commissioned several $1,000s worth of professional promotional materials and was refusing to pay. She was put on the phone with whoever was the highest-ranking agent in my hometown, who was incredibly confused because all the local offices were under his guidance, and they had a promotional materials contract with a local graphic design company. My mom gave him Aunt J's name, and holy shit, Aunt J was using this multi-million-dollar real estate company's name and materials when she wasn't even part of the company. I mean, this is a huge deal, and she could literally be facing years of legal trouble. Since real estate licensing is a fairly small world in our state, she is almost certainly going to lose her license if ProMax pursues her. I honestly don't know enough about real estate to know how, or even if she was making this work, or if she was just biding her time until the franchise did come through. I have no idea. Maybe her scam wouldn't have been figured out if she'd just paid me. But it gets even deeper than this. Aunt J had just bought a huge new Cadillac Escalade over Christmas, and since she said it was for work, she told my uncle that ProMax Real Estate was helping her finance it. My dad called my uncle, his brother, to let him know what my mom had found out as a heads up. My uncle freaked out because obviously if she wasn't part of ProMax, then she wasn't getting generous financing terms from ProMax on her new $80,000 car. My uncle ran his credit, and it looks like Aunt J had taken out 2 credit cards in his name and maxed them out. He thinks for the down payment on this car. So not only was Aunt J taking advantage of me, she was in an indirect way stealing by using the established name of a multi-million-dollar company, but she also committed identity theft against her own husband too, and now she's been exposed because she refused to pay me. My uncle told my dad that he had known that the last straw was coming for a long time, and this was the final log. He is contacting divorce attorneys immediately in hopes he doesn't get taken down if ProMax decides to pursue real legal action against her. He's going to have the lawyer advise him on what to do about the identity theft. Basically, Aunt J is screwed in every way imaginable. I've never been one to gloat, and I always take pity on people who are having a hard time. I'm not this time.
Wow, talk about a web of deceit unraveling. It's amazing how one situation can snowball into something much bigger. Now, let's shift gears completely. Imagine being told you're easily replaceable at work. How would you handle that? Let's dive into a story where someone turned that situation around in the most unexpected way.
I worked for a company for just under 5 years. The company I worked for existed for an additional 10 years prior to me. While I worked at this company, it ballooned to be the #1 provider in the region for its unique service, with about 75% of the market. It was a small business of about 15 employees. I loved my job, and the skills I learned while working there were quite valuable. I loved my team and the clients we provided services for. My twice-yearly reviews with the owner were always 10/10s with no recommendations for improvement. I was exceptional at my job in every way. I handled company operations, HR payroll, customer service, marketing, employee management, schedules, employee and client training, and many other things at this company. I was also able to step in and do any of my teammates' jobs if they were out sick or on vacation. The owner of the company was giving out a bonus late summer last year, and mine, while being more than previous years, was notably less than my teammates. I asked the owner, "Are the bonuses related to performance? And if so, what could I have done to earn more?" Owner replied, "The bonuses are not performance related. You are just more replaceable than the others." "Oh, okay," I replied, and I proceeded to process each of the bonuses, then went to lunch. I called my spouse to gain wisdom and advice. I was quite intoxicated, but didn't want to make a rash decision. My spouse is very intelligent, and while they are not a fortune teller, they have an ability to foresee various responses and all the potential outcomes. They are business savvy and have been on the executive team of a large company for the past 21 years, while also serving on several community boards and business advisory boards. We decided together to continue forward with our scheduled vacation and use the time away to calm our minds, relax, have fun, and also determine the best course of action for me. We were leaving after working one more day, so I worked as if all was normal the rest of that day and the following day, then left on vacation. While away, we discussed several scenarios and potential outcomes. We consulted with a business advisor and a business attorney. With all the advice I received, I determined that upon my return from vacation, I would resign from my role with a 2-week notice. However, in a fit of rage, I was immediately terminated by the owner. This was one of the scenarios we thought would happen, so I was prepared for the owner's poor reaction. During the next couple of weeks, I created and opened a competing business offering similar services. However, I offered more customizable options with higher quality service and results. I knew our clients wanted these options and had proposed said options several times at my old workplace, but was never given the go-ahead to implement the changes for no reason other than the owner didn't come up with the idea, so it was a stupid idea. I also maintained communications with a few people from my old team. My old team did not relay the day-to-day happenings at my previous workplace, and I never asked about the company. However, they would vent to me on occasion. I would listen without comment. I knew service, quality, and the work environment in general suffered since my departure. Morale went down and clients were less satisfied. I also read the Google and Facebook reviews for the old company. Yikes. Additionally, 2 full-time and 1 part-time person were hired to fill my role, and a portion of my responsibilities, such as human resources and payroll, were filled by outside companies. I quickly built up my business, and within 3 months was able to hire several of my old teammates. They were able to jump in on day 1 with minimal training, as they were the best employees at my old workplace. The quality of previous workplaces' offerings continued to fall, which sent additional business my way, and quickly caused incoming work to be non-existent at the old workplace. My former workplace went from being the #1 provider of unique services in the region to nothing in a matter of months. My previous employer is now searching for gainful employment. I know this because over the weekend, owner applied for a position at my spouse's company. Side note, I think my spouse's company should bring my previous employer in for an interview, but when they arrive, surprise, I'm the interviewer, and all I say is, "How replaceable am I now?" My spouse, rightfully so, has said no. Moral of the story, don't tell your employees they are replaceable because they might create a competing business that is better than yours, while taking your best employees and your clients, which will leave you with no business to sell. Owner's whole retirement plan was to sell the business, and starting all over by searching for employment under someone else. Looks like your company was replaceable, not me.
Before I talk about today's posts, please consider subscribing to stay updated on more engaging content like this. Today we have a couple of wild stories that really show the power of standing up for yourself and the consequences of trying to take advantage of others. In the first post, it's amazing how one person's refusal to pay for services led to uncovering a massive scam involving identity theft and fraudulent use of a company's name. It's crazy to think that Aunt J thought she could get away with all this just by offering exposure. I mean, who doesn't love a good comeuppance? And in the second post, it's incredible how one person's decision to start their own business not only led to their success, but also brought down their former employer. It's a stark reminder that underestimating your employees can backfire big time. What do you think about these stories? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily, high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.